Okay, we're live.
Awesome. What's up, Behind the Chair family? We are so excited to be here to bring you some fall blonding techniques. My name's Cassie Siskovic, and I am the National Artistic Director with Apple Park Milano. And I really can't even explain how excited I've been to teach this class with Ashley. I'm going to let her introduce herself in a second, but Ashley is one of those colorists that as soon as I met her, like we vibed. We knew this was going to be just a really fun experience together, and we're just really excited to have you with us. So Ash, do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hi guys, I'm Ashley, painted by Ashley Marie, BTCT member, and I am so stoked to be here. I'm obsessed with Alpha Park, obsessed with Cass. Like this is gonna be the best time.
It's gonna be so fun, and yeah, we're really gonna bring you guys today just some great in the salon fall blonding techniques. So if you've seen Ashley's Instagram, painted by Ashley Marie, we both have our handles down there. Ashley is like a blonding connoisseur, but she does everything. Like it's not just blonding. She does beautifully blended brunettes. She does reds. She has a variety of canvases that's within her work. So I loved hearing the techniques that she was going to be showcasing for you guys. You're gonna really love them. So we're gonna kind of get started. I'm gonna kick it off and introduce my demonstration to you guys. And actually, before that, just so you know, we are taking live questions. So please feel free to ask us questions. We love an interactive class. I know Ashley and I will be bantering back and forth, but anything you guys want to ask, please feel free to put them in the question box. And also, you know, please follow Apple Park USA. We always have a ton of education opportunities we list there. And we'll just be really excited to connect with you after this. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to explain my demo for you guys. So on my beautiful mannequin here, you can see she's a gorgeous blank canvas. And one of the things that I really wanted to spotlight and showcase is how we can create highlights and depth in a single process. So I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to build in my Italian face frame, which if you're familiar with Apple Park Milano, this is one of our signature techniques. It's a super quick and easy face framing technique, like literally takes, I don't know, maybe like 20, 25 foils. Depending on how much spacing you need. But I'm going to build that in. And then in between my foils, I'm going to show you guys a low lighting technique called watercolor low lighting. Really cool. I'll be excited to explain it when we get there. But all in all, I'm going to be using our BB Bleach High Lift 9 to lift through the mannequin. And then I do have our Colorwear Cream, and I'll share my formula in a bit for my low light. So I'm going to start building in my face frame. Ash, what are you doing over there?
So I am showing you guys how I take my summer blonde to a nice fall blonde. I finished the back here. I already highlighted and low lighted her. And then the side, I'm going to show you guys, thank you. I'm going to show you guys how I melt. But first, I'm going to go through, I'm going to foil with my pivoting foil technique. This is a great way to add depth back into the hair because it creates pockets and triangles of depth. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to weave and tease. I'll go in between my foils, and I'm going to paint down a low light, leaving my ends out still, so my ends remain very blonde. And then I'll go through and I will melt and tone that. I'm using Easy Lift 9 by Alpha Parf. And my in-between low lighting color, I will be using Colorwear Vegan Toner in equal parts 7.21 and 5.32 with 5 volume.
Amazing. I love that you introduced Colorwear as our vegan color, because that is, it's something that I don't inherently talk about right away, which is a bummer because it's a really cool attribute to not only our Colorwear Cream, but also our Colorwear Gloss Toner. They're both vegan formulas. They both have arginine patented technology, which I can talk about a little bit more later, but it's essentially a natural alkalizing agent. And we know that we need alkalizing agents to work in the hair. So having products that have that foundation and that innovation is bomb. And I love that you introduce it that way.
Yeah.
Pattern wise, I'm actually going to be doing something pivotal as well. So let me move my mannequin a little bit. I think she's a little overexposed. Sorry, guys. But with my mannequin, essentially the pattern that I'm building, I'm starting in the temple, going parallel to the part line. So obviously we know with face framing, going parallel to the part line is immediately going to create impact, right? So I did a classic weave with a soft tease to bring it off the scalp and create some depth balance. From here, what I'm looking to do, and I'm like Ashley, going to utilize some pivotal placements to create more impact with less work. We're all about, how can you create the best and biggest end results in the least amount of time with the least amount of foils. I think pivoting is a great way to do that. So I'm going to go from this temple area here. Depending on how much impact you want at the hairline, you could build back and do a couple back-to-back foils with a weave design. But I want her to be seen as a brunette, not a blonde. So I want to ensure that I'm leaving enough depth and not creating too much contrast. So I'm going to start my pivot now. Where I'm starting my pivot is going to be at the recession point. So when we take a look at every client's head, we see that their recession is typically coming inward into their hairline, and it's really a great transitional area to start moving with the curvature of the head. So I'm going to go from that recession, and I'm going to actually take a diagonal down section to start. And this is where my next foil is going to build, right here. And from there, to enhance my pivot, my next one will kind of be parallel to the parietal ridge. My next one will come higher. And what that's going to do is it's going to help me build into a parallel line with the part line. So I'm going to end up straight on with my client's part. So the parallel will build kind of like a fan from that temple all the way up into the part line. Ash, how do you pivot? Is it different than that?
It's honestly identical. So I start right above the ear and I pivot right up to the part line. You move really quick. I don't need to do a lot of foils. I feel like this is the best way to get your clients in and out, with also being able to really create those pockets of depth towards the back of your section, which I think is key, and you don't ever over blonde. So I just think it's so easy, it's so fast, and it's great for low lighting too, and making those fall blondes or those summer blondes into fall, because now you have that great piece of depth in between those foils, and it's really going to allow your new blonde foil here to pop against that dark dimension.
Yes, I love, it's almost like I feel like pivoting, because of the pie shape or triangular shape sections you leave in between, it's almost insurance that you're not going to over blonde or over lift, that you're always going to be supported with a balance of depth, which I know for me, like, as I was starting to transition more into foilage than freehand painting, that was always something that was relatively challenging, was figuring out how to ensure that I'm balancing my depth and light.
That same. I was a big painter for a long time, and then I just felt like foliage, I had more control, and I struggled at first to not over foil when I started switching.
Yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah. So you guys hopefully can see a little bit clearer my diagonal upward now. So now, because I'm coming diagonal up, it actually almost ends up being, again, a horizontal, because now I'm moving with the curvature of the head and I'm coming parallel to the parietal ridge. So again, it's just a really nice, easy way to move up with the shape of the head. One other little tip that I like to infuse as I start to work toward the part line detail and that front framing piece is I'll design my foils a little bit differently. I like to do something called a brightening weave, which is basically just taking a nice bold sliced section in the front and then weaving the back, so that when I put this in my foil, back home it a little bit first and then show it to you guys. I always like to put a little bit of my BB bleach on my foil first, just to ensure I'm getting good saturation. Oops. But to show you guys this design, so if you can see towards the front, she's got that little bold piece that's going to help create brightness towards the face, and then it's diffused into kind of a classic weave in the back. And you could design this differently depending on what your client's goals and end results are, or desired end results are. But I love using like a combination of this slice weave to essentially create that balance of brightness towards the face and then a little bit more depth towards the back. I'm still really feathering up to ensure that I'm getting a little bit of blend built in. And then we'll continue in the next one. This one's going to be a little bit more diagonal up, which will transition us into that part line. Ash, tell me about your like best blending tips, because I feel like you are the blending goddess.
Thank you.
And you make it look so easy. So what are some of your like top blending tips when it comes to both highlights and lowlights? Because I think they're both important to know.
So everything's about pressure and feathering and the amount of product you have on your brush. So I'm going to go in between these, this foil right here. This is my highlight up top. I flipped it up. I'm going to go down and I'm going to do a 3-piece weave for my low light, grabbing more towards the back. So I want to keep my depth, and less towards the front. I want to keep my brightness. So I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3, leaving that front piece out. And so when I do my low lighting and I'm feathering and blending, I still do a sweeping motion, but in reverse. So I'm going to drag more down towards the back in a nice soft feathering motion. So saturation immediately right at the root area, really layering on that product. And now once I have enough product and it's nice and saturated, I am going to take my brush vertically and I'm going to just gently feather down, lower in the back, higher in the front. And it's just a nice sweeping, easy feathering motion. And I think that's really, it's pressure. Saturation,
Yeah.
but then that feathering motion, so you don't have as much pressure towards the end of your section.
I love that. I always like to speak to, like, I remember when I was first practicing my blending techniques, I had to like consciously tell myself less product, less pressure, because you can always add more, but that's sometimes really hard to adjust, you know?
Yeah. And when in doubt, I just pick up my section. I know this is like crazy and I should probably be wearing gloves. I pick up my section and I have it between, lifted up off the foil, and I just make sure it's nice and saturated. And I just feather all the way through. And that's like my pro blending insurance tip, is just use your fingers in the end.
Fingers are an amazing blending device for sure.
Yes.
An amazing blending device.
And it also helps that the Colorware vegan toner is so smooth and easy to blend with. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, I love. So with the Colorware cream, you have options in terms of mixing ratio, which makes it so nice to use for a low lighting technique, especially. You can mix it 1-2, which is pretty standard. You can mix it 1-1. You can even mix it 1-3 if you want to apply it in like a bowl and brush. So I also love that there's just a lot of options with that too. But the viscosity is really nice for that. I'm excited to show you guys this watercolor low lighting technique. I'm
excited to see this.
Yeah. It's a little, I have my nerd moments. When Ash and I were together before this class, we were just kind of talking through our game plan, and I was getting really nerdy with her, like over explaining certain things. So you at least are a little bit used to that part of my personality, but this is definitely like, this has its nerd out moments.
No, I love it, because I'm not nerdy at all. So like I appreciate someone. No, like not even. No, like I'm really just not like a science person. So I love when someone is, because then I get like the whole other like side of it.
Oh yeah.
Side of hair.
And it is. It's great balance. And you are, when we were discussing it, you know your stuff.
Well, thanks, girl.
You do. You do. All right, so I am now, if you guys can see, let me finish up this foil and I'll show you. I'm pretty parallel to the part line now. So with my beautiful mannequin here, let me fold this up. So my best tips, if like you're not an OG pivoter, because I know pivoting has been around for a while, but if you haven't done it in a while, it can be kind of funky to readjust to how to do it. One of my best tips is to make sure that the sections in between your foils are triangular. So think of it as like pick a point. Like I referenced, I like to pick the recession area because it's an easy space to focus light and focus spacing because it's like essentially a curvature point on the head. So I love picking the recession area to kind of continue or create that pivot. But as long as your sections in between your foils are triangular, you're naturally going to move in a pivotal motion with more hair in the back and less in the front. So when it comes to truly creating that pivot, I think if you're not used to it or if you haven't done it in a while, that's probably the best way to kind of get back into it. I am at the part line now. And one thing I do like to do, especially with the Italian face frame, I like to design like pretty exact to the part line. I like to make this look exactly how it's going to fall. So I'm working right on where she parts. I'm going to leave a little bit of depth space in the front because I did section out this piece of hair for her front face frame. And then for this client, she does want a little bit more of a ribbon effect. So I'm going to take pretty definitive weaves at that part line to create that for her. And we'll again still back comb to keep it consistent, keep it off the scalp, have a little blend insurance. And then we'll apply it, and I'll do that front face frame piece, which will just be like a nice little off the scalp slice to finish it off. So yeah, literally I should count my foils. Ash, do you do a lot of foils when you do your pivots, or is it less foils for you too? I guess it depends.
Yeah, it depends on client goals, but when I'm converting to a fall blonde, it definitely is only a few foils, and my main focus points are going to be the hair along the hairline and at the very top. I just feel like I more so pop them in between just to have a good place to pop light against dark.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I don't have that many. As far as highlights go, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 highlight foils. I just finished this half of the head. I did a very fine, almost like strand light baby light for the top foil as on the hairline part. And I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do my 3-piece low light weave. Again, making sure it's towards the back of the head. So this is where she's most over blonded, which most of your blondes probably are, through the crown area. So I'm just going to grab 3 nice big weaves. And this is going to be my low light. Again, feathering down, not running the low light all the way through. Definitely keeping my end still bright so my blonde doesn't panic. I feel like that happens sometimes. Blondes want to say they're dark, but they're really not that dark.
Oh, yeah. When you talk about, okay, so when you talk about over blonding, do you adjust anything based on the level of over blonde that a client comes in with? Because I know obviously there's like porosity challenges and stuff, but is there anything that you adjust for someone who is like really overly blonde in certain areas?
So I would probably say my low light color, if someone's super, super blonde, I'm not going to go in with a 6, 5, 4 low light. I like to keep my low lights around like a 7, 6. And if they're very, very overly blonde, I will probably do just like an 8. Just to give them a touch offset, because at the end of the day, when a blonde comes in and they're used to being a level 10 all summer, if you throw a level 6 in their hair, even if it's just weaved, they're gonna think their hair is black. So my goal for this is, they're gonna be, so now I'm like a black brunette. So this is just a great, my rule of thumb is always stay within a 7, 6 as your darkest low light.
I really only laugh like that because when I was blonde, I was literally that client. Like it was really bad. So I was very, I was the, oh my God, it's black. I hate it. I want to go back. Person.
Yeah, no, because it's just like, it's just a reference. Like your only reference is your level 10. Now you feel like you're, so yeah, yep. I always want my blondes to feel like it's a soft and blended look still. I'm not looking to create these dark stripes. I'm looking to create very soft blended technique, which is why even though she probably doesn't really need it, I'll still go back in and I will root melt and tone everything. I think that softens everything even more. And just too, by adjusting your level 10 blondes root melt to maybe a level like 6, 7, they're going to feel like really nice and dark.
Definitely. And that's okay. So that's a great transition because I think when it comes to like knowing when and why to do like a base with your toner or when to root melt and when to not, you know, it definitely needs to be dependent on the end result, obviously, but there are other ways to kind of consider and assess that. And I know for me with my model, the goal is to not have to base with this particular application. So when it comes to like low lighting and adding depth, I am looking to go one level deeper than what she has, but I'm going warmer in tone. So let me explain that really quickly. My level of my low light is targeted at a 6. Okay, so she's got some pretty warm, like she's close to a 6 in some areas. The mannequins might be a 7. So it's going to be pretty close to on tone with her, but with a little bit of extra depth. And the tonality of the color I'm using is a 0.3, which is gold in Alpha Park Milano. So one of the things I like to think about when I'm formulating depth at any point is remembering, obviously, that cooler tones absorb more light, warmer tones reflect more light. So if I'm not looking to create a ton of contrast with her low light, especially on a brunette like this, where maybe we're just looking to correct warmth, or we're looking to create dimensional change, not intense level change, adding that extra warmth makes me more comfortable going a level deeper without a base because it's going to show up a little bit more reflective. So I think there's all kinds of different ways and approaches you can low light, but this in conjunction with the way I'm going to saturate is one of my favorite ways to approach it, for sure.
I love that.
Yes. Ooh, okay, what are we doing over there now?
Okay, so this is sorry. So this is my side that's already highlight and low lighted. So this is the end result of my just foiled side. I'm gonna go through and I'm going to root melt and tone. I'm gonna start with just a plain Colorware Cream 6 as my root melt. Oh, I just lost one of my headphones. And I'm just gonna, I go at a diagonal, so I start at the top. Again, depth always lives towards the back, right? Always lives towards the back. Brightness lives towards the front. So I'm going to start and feathering down a little bit lower towards the back. This is my beginning mapping. I'm going to take sections, saturating both sides, and just feathering. The hair is damp. It helps move everything. I'm going to go back through and brush and blend everything down. So I'm just really softening any foil lines that might be there, and also just kind of bringing my blonde right to fall by having a bit of a darker root than she was used to over the summer. When choosing this root melt color, I usually do about on level or darker. So 6, 7 usually pretty much is where I land when it comes to this. Unless a blonde tells me they want to have a really like dreamy dark root for fall, then I'll drop down to a 5-4. But I also know that this is going to have a natural fade out, so I'm not going to be working through it excessively in the spring.
That's such a good thing to consider too, is transitioning your clients back to a summer spring look. Like, as you're working and doing this, are you creating more work for yourself, or is there a way to work smarter and make it a little bit easier for you to transition them back?
Absolutely.
Especially if you know that they will.
I mean, I think it's safe to say in today's age, we have so many amazing inspiration pictures on our Instagram feed all day long. Your client's not going to want to stay what they are in 3 months. Like, they're probably going to want to change their hair. So definitely just plan for that.
I love it. Fair. Good
Yeah.
rule of thumb. Okay. All right, you guys, I am watercoloring away. So one thing I want to explain is with my depth color here. So again, this is a 6.3 in Colorware, our cream. I'm essentially surface saturating up from the base to the mids. And surface saturation, remember, that means the saturation of my product is only existing on the surface of my section here. So it's not underneath. So I'm already building in dimension with this low light, making it a softer end result. But the next thing I'm doing, so this is on a dry canvas. What I'm doing is I'm taking my brush and I'm dipping it. I literally have a little bowl of water here and I'm applying it to the ends. So this is where like the watercolor vibes come into play, and I'm just blending it through and pushing to fully saturate on these ends. So let me explain what the water is doing. So the water is essentially, if we think about it, we know that water dilutes, right? Well, water is going to inevitably dilute our formula and create a soft transition. One of the biggest challenges I've experienced with low lighting is that sometimes those ends, they suck up that color, right? They grab it. There might not be a soft transition from your saturation on top to the bottom. It's always kind of challenging to make that transition seamless and blendy and beautiful. So by creating and adding the water only onto the ends, a couple things are happening. One, it's diluting the formula, so it's inevitably going to be a little bit lighter and softer. But the second thing that's happening that I think is kind of a little Mythbusters moment is water is, when we think about chemistry, here we go, Ashley, I'm nerding out.
The scientist is coming out.
Yes, here she is. Water is H2O, right? Like we know water is H2O. Hydrogen peroxide, which is developer, right? Which is what we mix in with all of our colors, is what? It's H2O2. So water is technically still an oxidizing agent. It just has a little bit less oxygen within it. So I'm still going to get a nice blend of color here. It's just going to be softer because it's diluted from the water and there's less oxidation happening. So water, like anytime I can watercolor balayage like this, I'm going to do it. And it's great to combine, again, dry, starting at the top, surface saturating, because you know it's going to absorb a little bit deeper because it's on a dry canvas. Feathering it down, and I am progressing a little bit deeper towards the back. And then as I approach these ends, which are inevitably more porous, I'm going to dip my brush in the water and saturate.
That's brilliant. I love it.
Thank you. It's cool. And I mean, obviously on my mannequin right now, she's a little bit darker, but this is one of my favorite new things to do on clients that are really porous blonde. Like really porous blondes will always benefit from watercolor low lighting. Always. Like the science of it just completely makes sense for that canvas.
I have to try this. I'm going to be calling
you. Have to show me if you try it. You guys all have to show us if you try these techniques, because
yes,
it's always so cool to see other artists' interpretations of it. I love it. Okay, so what are you melting in now? She's got the bottle.
I am using the amazing new Colorware gloss toners.
Yes!
I'm literally beyond obsessed. You guys don't even understand. No, I'm so serious. It makes the hair so unbelievably soft, and like watching it process is so beautiful. Like I'll stand there over my client and just watch them process. But no, I'm a psycho. Like I really am. But the client's hair has never felt softer after a toner ever. Like I have to, like my client's hair is silk when I'm done toning with this product. So right now I am using 8.23 and 8N equal parts. This is a 1-to-2 mixing ratio, so you get so much product out of each bottle, which is just absolutely amazing. And I'm just brushing and blending my root formula right down into my blonde formula.
Amazing. And okay, so Ashley is probably one of the most important people that we needed to impress with this product, because Ashley uses liquid demis on an everyday basis. So obviously like her okay was really important to us when we were not only developing this, but also just like talking about the experience of it, right? So like she just mentioned something that I'm really proud of that this product provides, which is translucency during processing. Like the fact that you can actually see what's going on, especially like think about fall transitions. When we're transitioning clients from a bright blonde to a fall blonde, it's more likely than not that we're either adding depth or warmth. And those are two of the maybe arguably scariest things you can do with a blonde, right? So there's almost always shampoo bowl anxiety that comes with that. And one of the things we wanted to eliminate with Colorware Gloss Toner is shampoo bowl anxiety. So you can see exactly what's going on your section. You can see through the product to make adjustments if you need to. You can see and know when it's done processing too. So you can go up to 20, you can flash tone to 10. I mean, the fact that you enjoy that it makes my heart happy because it's very important.
It's such a game changer because there's no guesswork of, okay, this is processing super violet, but in my head I might know, okay, it's not going to be that violet. Calm down, walk away. What you see is definitely what you get. What you see is definitely what you get, and I really appreciate that about this product. Real life example, yesterday I toned someone, and that's my first time really using the product, and I just made it too cool, and she wanted more caramel, so I went back in with 834, which is 8 gold copper.
Yes.
And I did it for about 10 minutes, and I walked away after 5, came back, and it was perfect. And it wasn't like, oh no, it blew out really orange instead. No, it was like the perfect caramel in 10 minutes over my cooler tone. It was just absolutely perfect. Yeah. I really do enjoy this product, and like I said, you can't get over the fact that the hair feels like silk, but this feels like silk. Like when I tell you it's like silk, and when you blow dry it, it's still silk. Like absolutely unreal. Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm going to show you guys really quick. So this is what the Colorware Gloss Toner looks like. This is actually the shade that Ashley was just talking about, the 0834. But one thing I want to point out too is if you're used to Alpha Park's Colorware, you've never seen this 0 before that exists in front of the level. One thing that Ashley just talked about too, which is a really great point, is that with Colorware Gloss Toner, the 0 means that it's tone, not depth. So you still want to formulate on level, but the brilliancy in that is you're never going to overtone because it's true to that tone, true to that level. And the focus of this product is to provide you with kind of a more iridescent finish and really focuses on the tone, not the deepness. If you're looking for the deepness, you would use the cream. So I think for me, that's always an immediate, like, when would I use cream? When would I use liquid? Is what Ashley just said. Like, when you're looking for something that isn't going to panic you when you use it to correct a blonde in a situation like that. Like the 0834 should be just a perfect soft caramel that doesn't make your blonde look too dark, that doesn't make it look bright orange, that just has that perfect balance of what it says, which is gold and copper, which is great. Yeah. On my mannequin, I'm going to actually do equal parts of our 01032, which is my favorite. Like, it's my favorite beige. It's just a perfect, beautifully balanced beige tone. And I'm going to mix it equal parts with the 0834. Mix it 1 to 2. I'll probably do a flash tone in 10 minutes as well, just to keep it going and be able to show you guys that. Yes. Ash, what else are you doing to finish your mannequin?
So she really is done, but if you want, I can show you. So I actually don't do my money. Yeah, I don't do my money piece while I do it separately. I just section it out. So I'll show you guys quickly how to do my money piece, and then I will also tone that with the same formula, and you guys can see the end result later on. But so my money piece, what I do is I take a triangular section off the natural part. So wherever your client parts their hair, that's kind of where you want to be. Ooh. And I'm going to just do, I call it like slice baby. Is that weird?
Ooh.
It's honestly like
hold on.
It's honestly like the most basic. It's the most basic one. But
no, I love it so much. That's an Ashley original for me. I've never heard that before, so it's totally an Ashley original.
My whole life is related to music and songs, so if I'm talking, I'm singing a song in my head. So honestly, slice baby is just, it's going to be 2 slices back to back, right to the root. Where's my... And I chose the Easy Lift 7 Lightener by Alpha Park because I'd already highlighted her and she doesn't need to go much further. And I did 20 volume. If she were not a mannequin, I probably would have done something more like 10 volume with Easy Lift. And if you guys have never tried their lightener, it's absolutely unreal and gentle on the hair.
Oh my gosh, we call our lighteners, our BB bleaches, the gateway products because they're definitely like an easy one to use to understand the technology in Alpha Park. Like to truly experience the product and know like, oh, this is going to be like an easy one to use to understand the technology in Alpha Park. Like to truly experience the product and know like, oh, this is going to be like an easy one to use to understand the technology in Alpha Park. Like to truly experience the product and know like, oh, this is going to be like an easy one to use to understand the technology in Alpha Park. Like to truly experience the product and know like, oh, this is going to be like an easy one to use to understand the technology in Alpha Park. Like to truly experience the product and know like, oh, this is going to be like an easy one to use to understand the technology in Alpha Park. Like to truly experience the product and know like, oh, this is going to be like an easy one to use to understand the technology in Alpha Park. Like to truly experience the product and know like, oh, this is going to be like an easy one to use to understand the technology in Alpha Park. Like to truly experience the product and know like, oh, this is going to be like an easy one to use to understand the technology in Alpha this stuff works.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because that was my gateway product. It was
Yeah.
Beach 9. No,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I used it and I was like, wow, this is actually really amazing. And then that was it. I just fell in love with Elf Park after that. That's all it took. Little lightener.
I love it. Yep. And you said Easy Lift 7. That's what you're using?
Yeah.
Usually the High Lift 9 is the one that a lot of artists like really fall in love with. But I love that you're using that because Easy Lift 7, so you guys, the numbers at the end of our bleaches tell you how many levels they're going to lift. So Easy Lift 7 is a 7-level lightener. And then High Lift 9, which is the one I'm using, which is a white base. Easy Lift 7 is a blue base. This one lifts 9 levels, and it's also designed to lift through artificial color, which a lot of people don't know. Like, it's actually, the technology in it is focused on removing that type of pigment from the hair. So it makes it just a really brilliant tool for any of those corrective situations. But Easy Lift 7 gets a lot done. Like, you can get a lot done with that lightener. It's more so my go-to every day. And it's only when I'm working on, like, potentially double process mannequins like this, or someone that has previous artificial color, that I reach for the High Lift 9. But High Lift 9, I mean, they're both clean lifting lighteners. Like, you get a clean lift.
Yeah, it's
nice.
You would think this was I don't know. It's just as good and powerful as the High Lift 9.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely can grab both, and they both do the trick. And they both leave the hair in phenomenal condition. I think that's too what really gravitates me towards this lightener. Is I never have to worry about anything with my client's hair. The client's hair always looks nice.
Yeah, it has the built-in bond builder.
Yes.
Okay, wait, explain what you're doing with that front money piece.
Oh,
I'm like,
so slice.
Definitely am watching, but
okay. So I have my 2 slices, and I'm gonna just do baby teases. And I'm gonna start dropping my application lower and lower as I work my way back to the corner, and that's really it. It's really basic. I just name things after music because I am crazy.
I mean, it makes so much sense, and I think so you're essentially building depth as you progress back.
Yes.
Which probably makes your basing process a lot more efficient.
Yeah.
Right? Like I feel like you probably don't have to base as meticulously, and still you can still have the density of blonde that hits. Like right now, this is one of your deepest pieces, right? Like it has the deepest tease, or does it have the highest tease?
This one's gonna be my deepest tease right here.
Okay.
I have one more. It's a 4 to 5 foil. So this right here will be a little more tease, and I'll drop a little bit lower. And that my depth is built in right at the top triangle of this section.
Brilliant. I love that. I love that because then you're not losing the density of blonde in that front face frame piece throughout the mids. Like it'll still all fall and hit right at that cheekbone to bring that out. But at the base, you have that soft diffusion. So instead of her having like a big square chunk at her face frame, she's just gonna have little points almost.
Yes.
It's a very efficient design. I don't know if I think of Vanilla Ice as like efficient or any of those words, but I'm gonna find a way to relate that to the finished end result. Please do. I want to show you guys how this is processing. You guys can see on camera. Ooh,
it looks so pretty.
Ash, wait, do that again. Oh,
I'm obsessed.
Obsessed. Yes, and you guys can see. Okay, so can you show us on the other side what the blonde, or no, the other side would be rinsed out blonde. Like there's no blonde in between, right? That's not toned.
Yeah, no, it's just raw blonde.
That's okay.
On this side. This one, the
I
back
kind of like
the
as
back
I said that
finished.
out loud, I was like, oh, I'm making this up.
No,
this is not hard.
This is the back color. Once it's dried and blown out, this right here.
It's so pretty. And wait, can you tell us your formulas again?
So the gloss, I did 8.23, which is a level 8 violet gold, and then I did 08N, and then it's 1 to 2, and at the root it is just 6, in the Colorware toner cream. And the low light is 7. What is my low light? My low light is 721 and 532. I did 5 volume equal parts.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And it just like
I
glows.
am finishing up my last highlight on the opposite side, and then what I'll do is I'll go through and continue my watercolor low light technique on the sections in between. And again, just to remind you guys, my bleach formula is High Lift 9. I don't think I even mentioned, but I mixed it 1 to 2 with 20 volume. My low light formula is just a 6.3 in our Colorwork cream. Mixed 1 to 2 with our 5 volume Oxido. And then I'm going to gloss her with the Colorware Gloss Toner all over. Give her like a really pretty beigey caramel, which I think is like a perfect shade for fall. And I'm going to mix equal parts our 0-10-3-2 with our 0-8-3-4. Mix it 1 to 2. And I'll probably process her in about 10 minutes to do a flash tone.
Perfect. Sounds beautiful.
Yeah, I can't wait. And so here's that face frame, you guys. So like literally, I mean, we've been on for 40 minutes and I am like a talker, like a stop and talker. So I know like this face frame you can knock out in like 25, 30 minutes for sure. And yeah, on each side, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 14 foils total for this progression of brightness. And I'm so excited to show you guys the afters. We'll post all of our afters. We'll send them to BTC so that they have them post live and can share them with you guys, along with all of our formulas. But we're pretty excited to finish these out for you.
Yes.
Ash, anything to add before we close out?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think that was really it. It was so much fun. I had so much fun with you guys today.
It was so much fun. These always fly by, don't they?
That was the fastest 40 minutes of my life.
No, 100%. It always feels that way. But great, you guys. So if you have any other questions for us, I know we were kind of bantering a lot, so we'll check back in and see if there's any questions that come through after the live. But please connect with Ashley and I. We would love to hear from you. Also follow Apple Park USA for any additional education or any other questions that you have. But we definitely want to thank you so much for spending time with us. Elevating your fall blonding game is always great at this time of year. So Ashley,
Absolutely.
thank you for joining me, because this is like totally your wheelhouse. And I just love, I learned from you and I love teaching with you. It was fabulous.
Oh my gosh. Best time ever. Thank you for having me, you guys. I love you guys so much.
For sure. BTC, thank you. And we will show you guys our afters when we're finished. But thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.